Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily astrology with a little help from Tarot. This is my second post in the Tarot portion of my daily astrology video blog, which you can see on my other channel called Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Here, I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page. I'll make a quick review of the day's astrology, and then I'll follow up by playing another tarot card, which usually gives us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The tarot card that sits on the side of the page for just a couple more days now is the Four of Cups. Four of Cups relates astrologically to the last 10 days, or the third decan of the sun's transit in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is a water sign. Cups are water in the tarot, and water element symbolism is all about our feelings, the way things feel. So emotions and intuitions, and also sort of our creative capacity as well. Not sort of, actually, literally our creative capacity as well. So, water themed element here. We have the Four of Cups, and we see a person here who seems to be not taking any fresh cups at the moment. And I can't tell whether this person is actually aware of the cup being offered on the side here. They seem to be fairly deep in contemplation. They seem to have a pose about them that says they're kind of closed off and perhaps just not feeling very open to new experiences at the moment. So, cups represent those emotional experiences, intuitive and creative experiences, and sometimes emotional experiences can be a lot to handle, okay? A lot to witness or go through. And sometimes, we come away from 2 or 3 emotional experiences and we go, I'm kind of done for now. I need time to absorb, a time to contemplate, time to assimilate what it is that I have been through, what I have discovered, what I have realized about myself, so that when I'm ready to take in a new offer for a new opportunity for love or joy or connection or creativity, then I'll know on what terms I'm willing to do that, right? And I think it's valid to stop and take that moment. Personally, I don't always know how I feel about things right away, and sometimes I have to step back and really think about it and really get into like that void of course time when I journal and meditate and have serious conversations with myself about what I think about how I feel. Aquarius Moon, there you go. But the lesson here, though, is that we cannot remain closed off to new experiences. Or rather, we can remain closed off to new experiences, but, that brings about a general theme of apathy in our lives. And when we act apathetic, when we act like we don't care, people start to treat us like we don't care. and certainly, eventually, we're going to care about that. So, contemplate, sit back, take a break if you need to, but understand that, if you don't turn eventually and open yourself up to a new experience, a new emotional, creative, or intuitive opportunity, then, you're crossing off of your list the potential for joy, the potential for grander connections than you've had in the past, and the potential for yourself to, sort of grow into the person that you would like to think of yourself as being. So we don't want to close off those opportunities. Take your time to contemplate, and then become open. Turn your head to see the offer that's coming in. And with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Cancer for just a couple more days. Sun goes into Leo on Friday. So here we are at the very end of Sun in Cancer. Sun in Cancer has been very much about this initiative, this feeling of initiative or desire to make a start when it comes to showing people that we care, by doing caring actions, by nurturing others, and by showing them that we have them under our protection. And it's a great time to be that way because, we kick off the Cancer season with the longest day of the year. So after the longest day of the year, we get like many of the hottest days of the year. It's an appropriate time to be thinking about water, drinking water, getting down to the water, getting into the water, making sure you're well hydrated, making sure that you nourish yourself and others, and making sure that you protect yourself and others in terms of the heat and the sun and all of the other various challenges and dangers that come up with the lifestyle we sort of get into when it's all daytime all the time, from early in the morning to late in the evening. The sun is out and we've got plenty to do. So Venus is also in Cancer, and after Sun leaves Cancer and moves into Leo on Friday, Venus will remain in Cancer for a while, and that makes us in our love relationships and our romantic relationships more attached, okay, a little more clingy, and definitely very protective of what it is that we like, love, and can't get enough of. So, enjoy that feeling of feeling very attached to the things that we love, especially in terms of the resources we can pull in or the attention that we can pull in. But, understand that, heavily attached behavior sometimes comes off as overbearing, and we don't want to come across that way either. So we want to make sure that we're always on the same page with the people that we're keeping close to us. The moon is a third quarter moon today, and it reaches the third quarter while it's in Aries. So we've got a third quarter moon in Aries. Moon in Aries is a time when we feel like getting active, when we feel like taking care of business, doing the stuff and things that we need to do. And that's great because the third quarter moon indicates a time when we've been thinking about what we might want to let go of, and now we are going to actively start releasing, pushing out, getting rid of, throwing away, dropping off the stuff and the thoughts and the attitudes and the dispositions that are no longer working for us. If it's taking up room in your heart, in your mind, or in your home space, and you're just stepping over it and there's nothing you can do with it, get rid of it, let it go. Okay, we live in a stuff-rich culture. There's always more stuff to be had. And, moon, on the moon side of the page today, on the feeling life, the inner life, this is like our home life. Moon goes square to Pluto right before it goes void of course. So void of course is like, this is the moon making the last aspect that it's going to make in the sign of Aries before it spends 5 hours traveling over to Taurus, right? So that's that void of course period where the moon is basically unfiltered. We often make an aspect with Pluto before we go void of course. And, when the moon is square to Pluto, it's really kind of like, we don't like the way the things that we're discovering make us feel, or we don't like the way the fears and insecurities that are arising make us feel. So we try to push back at them, but what we resist persists. So we have to be really honest with ourselves right now. And if something makes us, something we have realized, discovered, understood about ourselves, makes us feel uncomfortable, try to be open to it and try not to resist it. Okay, you've got this 5 hours of void of course, and like I said, the moon is just basically not coming to us through the filter of either of these signs. It's more of a direct influence, and I find it easier to sort of connect with myself and with spirit at that time and have those important conversations with myself. For example, regarding the things that the changes I'm resisting going through, right? You have to have those internal conversations so that we can, sort of focus our intentions and relax our minds, right? And then after the void of course, the moon makes ingress to Taurus. That's a 2.5 day transit, and it really allows us to slow down and follow through on anything that we got started while the moon was in Aries, which is great because we got started getting rid of stuff, and now we're going to continue just getting rid of all the stuff that we had decided we were going to release. Moon goes square to Neptune this evening, and then an hour later it goes sextile to Venus. So they're kind of coupled. They overlap one another by an hour. These aspects take about 2 hours. So this is like an opportunity to either leap to conclusions or not. And the guidance I got was don't leap to any conclusions, because eventually some information is going to come to light, and it's going to show us that there's a reason to be receptive to what's going on, Venus receptive, and then we're willing to cooperate when we see that there's a good outcome available to us. So keep an open mind, even if things seem a little strange. Give it a little minute to unfold and see what is on offer that you might be open to having in your life. Sun square Moon happens on the Sun side of the page today. Sun side of the page is our outer life. This is how we express ourselves out in the world, work, social and civic lives. Sun goes square to the Moon at 9:19 this morning, and Sun square Moon is the indicator for that third quarter moon phase. It's the culmination point of that third quarter moon phase. So that's the time when we make the shift from thinking and planning about what we're going to release to actively doing it. Okay, so that square vibration, we think of it as a challenge, but a challenge is not ever really meant to stop us. It's meant to spur us into action. It's meant to remind us of what we're resolved to do, to get rid of stuff, and to get us moving forward. And if anything, that symbolic way of saying like the outer life is in a challenge position with the inner life, it's sort of like, yes, let's go ahead and just take care of this business. Let's go ahead and do this stuff we said we were going to do so that I can get back to doing stuff that I would like to be doing. In the ongoing column, we got a lot of stuff going on. Your North Node is conjunct to Uranus through August 15th. And this is a little bit like a choose your own adventure, almost like if you could look down your time path, your timeline, and you could see that North Node conjunct to Uranus, okay, our trajectory conjunct to the planet that brings about abrupt changes and new perspectives, okay, is offering up this sort of platter of different options for our future, right? So it's like there's this little wobble of different options, a little wobble in our trajectory, as though we could almost shift timelines or shift realities and take a different track than the one we're on now. If you're second guessing about your current path, you can see one that you like better, go for it. But understand that, changing tracks takes a lot of work and effort. It's not like you can just change your mind and North Node's going to go like, okay, yeah, that's your trajectory now. Sure, no problem. Like shift all of the work and experience you did for one track over to the other. That's not how it works. For example, if you were on a nursing track and you decided to go on say a finance track, you don't get to move all of your nursing credentials over into, the school for finance and say, hey, I could do this, right? No, you're still going to have to do the work. You're going to have to play catch up if you're going to change tracks. But it's possible. It's available to you at this time. Pluto is retrograde through October 8th. Pluto is making its final retrograde in Capricorn for the rest of our natural lives. And that's bringing us all through some truly deep, foundational, total changes. So, honestly, we might not recognize ourselves when we look back on who we are right now a few years from now. Sun is opposite to Pluto, and so is Mercury right now. Sun's opposition to Pluto is going to last longer. And this can bring about some upsets, some abrupt changes, accidents, mishaps. It's about the choices we're making out in the outer life, out in the world. And we don't necessarily have a lot of control over over what happens. Okay, so be careful with yourself and be careful with others at this time. And this one, the Mercury in opposition to Pluto, actually has the potential to have brought about some conflict of ideas. And the way this comes across to me is like, I might have some strong ideas regarding the changes I'd like to be going through right now, or the changes I think I'm going through. but that doesn't necessarily mean that I know whether that aligns with the changes I'm actually experiencing, right? So I'm gonna ease up on the pedal a little bit. I'm gonna try not to speed ahead into my transformation, all right? Because Mercury brings speed, and this opposition says maybe just slow down a little bit. Allow those transformations to come along. They cannot be pushed any more than they can be sort of demanded to happen. Saturn continues retrograde through October 22. Saturn's retrograde in Aquarius is asking us asking us to look at how we show up in the context of humanity, community. If we're not giving the time and effort that we'd like to think that we are, then we know what we have to do. And Neptune is retrograde through December 23rd. This Neptune's retrograde in Pisces is here to remove our blinders and allow us to see what's behind the mystery. In other words, our illusions are being dispelled. The enchantments that previously held us in their grip no longer have a hold on us. And now our vision is clear, so we can step forward with clarity and be thoughtful and sensible in our choices going forward. Sun is trine to Neptune, and Mercury is trine to Neptune. And these two aspects are a golden opportunity while Neptune is retrograde for us to move forward in the direction of our dreams with that clarity that our dreams represent ideals and not reality, right? So, with a little reality on our side as we move toward our dreams. And Chiron is retrograde through December 27, just about the end of the year. I almost said the world. Chiron is in Aries from like 2018 to 2026. So when we talk about this, we're talking about our personal self-expression and how we feel we are included in social and civic spaces. Lots of us have personal wounds around having felt unaccepted or unincluded, especially when we were young. This is a time to turn whatever wisdom you may have gained around healing old wounds over the last several months toward yourself. Okay, there are some parts of the social wound we are ready to heal and to let go of, and since that is the case, we should go ahead and do it. And with all of that said, we have the Knight of Swords. Okay, so swords are air element in the tarot, and that has to do air with Mercury, our thoughts, plans, and communications. And swords and tarot really have to do with how we use our thoughts, plans, and communications, with the understanding that, these things can be used to help or to harm ourselves or others, right? So Knight of Swords is a speedy factor. He's more of a Mercury, I would say, than any of the other Swords characters, just because he comes in with speed. Knights ride horses. They're very well supported in what it is that they are quickly moving to do. They kind of, have a reputation for coming to the rescue, or, for being on a quest to do something for the world. So the Knight of Swords is about, those thoughts, plans, and communications that he thinks will bring him closer to his goal, right? And he can come in very quickly with a lot of good ideas and a lot of things that he has to say. And it really depends on the situation whether that's appropriate. Sometimes the Knight of Swords comes with a warning to sort of, think twice, speak once, right? Don't just say what comes first to your mind to say. Give it a beat, and then rethink it and say something a little more diplomatic, perhaps, than what the Knight of Swords might say. There's definitely a fool's rush in quality with the Knight of Swords. So, this is somebody who has a good command of the language. They have good command of their rational and their rational capacity, and their how do I want to say this? Their intellectual capacity. So it's not as though they are uninformed or just ignorant people, but it is as though they might say something brash or out of line in the moment. So keep that in mind. Mercury on the page over here, trying to Jupiter coming up this week. That's going to be exciting because that's going to be about being able really, to really think about and plan for and discuss the bigger and better dream we have for ourselves, or the bigger, better goals we have for ourselves in our lives, in a really blessed way that will bring positive things toward us as long as we are doing that work. And then Mercury down here is trying to Neptune, which is really beautiful because we can again think and plan and communicate about, like, in the direction of our dreams. But while Neptune is retrograde, we are aware that our dreams are dreams, right? We can see that the dream is not the reality, and that we're moving in the direction of the dream, understanding that we're still going to keep getting reality, right? And then over here, Mercury is in opposition to Pluto, and this is really a time where there might be some arguments, there might be some conflict in ideas between people, and there might be some conflict in our ideas about ourselves. Let's be careful about the way we use our words and make our plans, especially in regards to how it will affect ourselves and the people around us, right? And of course, Wednesday is Mercury's day, so Knight of Swords it is for the day, coming to the rescue with the thoughts and words and the thoughts and plans and communications that are going to sort of help us all. Taken together with the the Four of Cups here, I see this person in the Four of Cups sort of deep in contemplation about what they have experienced emotionally. They look a little dumbfounded, and I say dumbfounded on purpose because it's like speechless. Like I don't even know what to say about what I just experienced, or I don't even know what to say about what I'm looking back on here. But and here comes the Knight of Words, the Knight of Swords, who has many words at their disposal, and who is quite capable of articulating what it is that they see happening and what they think should be happening next. So perhaps if you're in that space of contemplation and you really don't know what you think or how to articulate what you feel, for one thing, I see guidance here to try to articulate what it is that you've experienced, especially if you're feeling stuck in those memories and unable to open yourself up to further inspiration and joy. Seek ways to articulate what it is that you've been through, because sometimes talking about it is a way to get something off of your chest, so you don't feel so blocked and heavy with the experience that you've not been able to understand. Personally, for me, I've got my Mercury in a water sign, Pisces, and honestly, I don't always know what it is that I think or feel until I somehow find a way to express it in words. Isn't that strange? But honestly, when you look up Mercury and Pisces online, it'll say, yeah, you think in a really vague way, which means I don't always necessarily know how my brain is working or what's going on in there. But if I try to articulate it, then I'm very articulate and I'm very analytical, so I'm capable of finding out how I feel or how I'm going to process through such emotions, simply by writing in a journal or talking to a friend. And that's the other thing that comes up is, maybe you're a very deeply felt person, and you're simply not in the habit of articulating how you feel, or you don't necessarily want to share those experiences with just anyone. The Knight of Swords can be a friend. Okay, find a person who is articulate, who can hear what you're saying and sort of say back to you, this is what I hear you saying, so you can confirm their articulation of your feelings. They're gonna see you, they're gonna understand what you're going through, and they're gonna be able to help you sort of to put it together in a way that makes sense, or they're gonna help you to look at it and go, yeah, you're right, that doesn't make any sense, right? So always reach out to a friend if you're struggling, especially with emotional experiences or intuitive or creative experiences you've had that have got you feeling kind of stuck. because the Knight of Swords is not a stuck kind of person, and the Knight of Swords uses thoughts, plans, and communications to get unstuck. Okay, I believe that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.